Everyone, so today I thought I would do a gardening vlog because I have quite a few little bits and bobs I have to get done today in terms of like houseplants, outdoor plants. I'm doing some seeds. I had a delivery from Crocus yesterday, so I'm just kind of working my way through all of that stuff. I got some pots, I got some compost, I got some plants. So I'm going to show you some of the things that I'm going to do first. I might do a couple of the things outside depending on how long this will take. So firstly, I'm going to plant some of these pepper seeds into this seed tray. I've used this before, which is why it's kind of dirty. I used it to grow pansies, which are now outside. So I need to sow these seeds, and I've bought some seed compost from Crocus. Then I got this pot delivered, which is like a half terracotta pot, and I'm going to move this plant into there. I don't know what this plant is called. I got it from a plant sale at my university, and it didn't have labels for any of the plants, so I should probably look it up. I think it's some kind of succulent, or it behaves like a succulent. It needs a lot of light and not a lot of water, but it is absolutely bursting out of this pot, so I bought this bigger pot to move it into, and hopefully it will be happier in there. And then I got two different tomato plants from Crocus. Is it going to focus? Is it going to focus? There we go. I got two different types. Basically, I want to start growing peppers and tomatoes, and when I move into my new place with the garden, it will be August, which is kind of too late to get things started. So I want to get things started here and move them into just like big pots temporarily, and then when we move I can stick them in the ground. And these are similar in terms of how often they need watering, how much sun they need, what kind of nutrients they need. I know you can use tomato feed for peppers, so I figure I'll start one from seed and one from like a little plug plant and just see which I do better with, because growing things from seed in the past has not been very successful for me. So I thought I'd try both and we'll see. So I have a bigger plant, which I think is there's Sweet Aperitif and there's Gardener's Delight. I don't remember which is which, but one of these are the little sweet ones and another one is the bigger tomatoes. And I just have two of these kind of cheap plastic pots, but they are bigger than what they're currently in. So we're going to move them in there and give them a good drink of water. This one kind of arrived in not great condition. I mean, the leaves are very green. It looks kind of healthy, but some of the leaves are not doing well. This one arrived pretty healthy. I'm pretty pleased with this one from Crocus, although it looks like something here has snapped off in delivery, which is not great. And I also got something else from Crocus, which I will show you in a little bit. It got massively messy in here really quickly. I garden inside because our patio outside is the front of the building, so there's people walking past all the time, and it just feels awkward to garden when there's people walking past, especially if I'm trying to film at the same time. So I like to bring everything in when I do gardening, but then it gets super messy. So my boyfriend just came in. We planted some wildflowers. He ordered some like bee-friendly wildflowers online because you could get them for free as like a campaign to like make the world a nicer place for bees. So we've planted them in two different long plastic things, which we spray painted with this like concrete spray. Yeah, so I finished my pepper seeds. I got them all planted, watered in, or sown, watered in, and they're now on the windowsill under a little plastic lid that will come off when the shoots come up, and it gets loads of sun on that windowsill. It gets really warm in there, so it should be fine. My boyfriend and I planted up the his wild seeds, sowed the wild seeds, and they're now outside, and I'll show you in a little bit. And the other thing we did is we drilled some holes in these big pots that I have. I have a couple of flowers that I've bought to go outside in the garden when we move. Again, because I wanted to start buying some things now to spread the cost, but also just because some things won't be available then or whatever. So I've started buying a few things that are gonna go in the ground. That's super loud. Bought a couple of things that are going to go in the ground when we move. So for now I'm just going to stick them in some big pots so they have a lot of nice space, and then when we move I'll put them in the ground. So I'm going to show you those. I still have to repot one of my houseplants and my tomatoes. So this is the wisteria plant that I bought online from Crocus. I will insert a picture right here of what it looked like a couple of days ago when it first got delivered. It is not looking super healthy, but hopefully you'll be able to tell from the picture that it is a lot more healthy than it was when it arrived. When it arrived, I thought it was like dead, but I left it in a really sunny spot outside, gave it a lot of nice water, and it seems to be recovering nicely. So we're going to stick this in a big pot and hope that it does well. And then the other thing is outside. I brought it inside to repot in here, but then ants got everywhere, so I put it back outside. You can see it out the window. It is sitting on the barbecue at the moment because it was getting some nice sun up there, but sun's gone in now, it looks like. But that is what I'm going to be planting into the other big pot. I'm not totally sure what it is. The label says Erica australis, and the sticker on it says Riversea, so I'm not sure what it is. I need to look it up, but it's super pretty. I like plants that are colourful and like kind of light and airy and fluffy. I don't like plants that have a whole lot of structure, so I'm loving that. So I've just realised that I can't actually plant the big pots that we drilled holes in because I don't have enough compost. I thought we had more compost in the little cupboard outside where I keep my gardening stuff, but we don't. So I think the only thing I have left to do then is plant up my tomatoes. I don't understand why this compost had to come in its own plastic bag. Why did it have to do that when it's already in a plastic bag? I hate all of the waste that came in my Crocus package. There was just plastic everywhere. So this table is super messy. This is just some wet compost sitting on my table. I'm going to repot this now. Again, I'm not sure what it is, but I'll try and find out. But I'm going to try and be super careful with it because it has all of these little leaves that are attached quite thinly, so they do like to pop off really easily. There's a lot of new growth here. It goes forward because it was facing towards the light, but I'm going to spin it to try and get it to grow a little bit more evenly. But I really like things that kind of grow hanging over stuff, so I really like this. So I'm going to try and repot it super carefully. Yeah, this is looking pretty root bound. It's also pretty wet, so I think I water this way too much. So hopefully this will be good for it. Okay, so this is Gardener's Delight and this is Sweet Aperitif, and I'm going to get them planted up into some bigger pots. I need to either make more labels or laminate these because they're going to go outside and these are just card and they're going to get destroyed in the rain. This is this plant repotted into its bigger pot, and it just looks so much happier in this sized pot. I can't believe I waited so long to replant it, and I also can't believe how wet the soil was. So yeah, it should be a lot happier now. I mean, it was not doing badly, it doesn't look unhealthy, but it should do even better now. And please don't ask me about this poor aloe vera plant. It got very damaged in the move and I was going to get rid of it. When we moved in here nearly a year ago, I was going to get rid of it, but it just insisted on living despite being really damaged, so I didn't have the heart to get rid of it. But now it's kind of I don't know, it's kind of in a weird position. So I thought I would give you just a little overview of the patio we have out front. I don't know how well this will work because the road is right there. It's a pretty busy road and people are always walking past, but we'll see how it goes. So first we'll go over here. This is a bed that was left, or that was here when we moved in, and I've planted it up. These tall things are some kind of orchid. I can't remember what. This is why I've started a garden journal, so that I can write these things down. We have pansies on either side, and in the middle we have petunias, which have been gobbled up by snails, but they've left the pansies alone, interestingly. Then just above them on the windowsill are the wildflower seeds that we just planted. It's late afternoon at the moment, so they will get a lot of morning sun over this side in the patio, and over that side gets a lot of the afternoon sun. Behind me are a couple of hanging baskets. We found these baskets in the road, in the street. They're just some kind of wood that's been painted black, and we lined it basically with a carrier bag and hung them up with paracord. They have mainly periwinkle, which are looking really healthy right now. I bought them in October as tiny little things, and they pretty much look dead over the winter, and I was worried about them, but they've come back in full force this spring. They probably don't look good compared to your periwinkle if you have them, but compared to what they were before, the leaves are looking super mature. The idea was that they would kind of grow forward and hang over the basket, but I realized that was silly because the light comes from behind them. So that won't happen while we're here, but maybe in a few months when we move, we'll bring them with and find a position where that can work. Behind them are a couple of bluebell bulbs, and only one of them has flowered, and it's kind of late in the year, but I just thought I'd stick the bulbs in there and see what happened. So then over here we have a bunch of stuff. Over here is where I've stuck the tomatoes for now because they get a lot of good afternoon sun. I'm not sure what's better, morning or afternoon, but I think just this area gets the most light throughout the day, so I'll leave them there. These again are these things that we sprayed with this concrete spray, and it's kind of a textured spray, so it feels rough. It took a couple of coats to get it looking smooth, but I think they look quite good, and you can see them over there. Those ones really could have done with another coat, but we ran out of time and we needed to plant the seeds. So these just have a couple of orchids. These were just random pots I had, and I had some bulbs left over, so I put them in there. They're probably not deep enough, but we'll see how they do. These have pansies. This is some kind of weed that must have ended up in the pansy seeds, but I mean, I'm kind of interested to see what it does, so I think I'm just going to leave it there. And then these well, firstly, these two big orange pots, they are the pots that I want to put these flowers in, but I need to buy compost before I can move them in, but that's the size that they'll be going into. Again, these are just more of these orchid bulbs. I had space left over. There's still a couple new ones coming up, but yeah, I don't know how well they're doing in the pots. The ones in the planter seems to be doing so much better than the ones in the pots. These are a little bit scraggly, they're kind of falling over themselves. The leaves on these seem thicker and more mature and stronger, so I guess they do better in there than in pots. And then this is the wisteria. Again, it's not looking super healthy, but it seems to be recovering from its delivery by crocus, so we'll see how that does. Then this is that plant I was talking about earlier that I can't remember the name of. I love it, but this one does seem pretty desperate for more space. And then the only other thing is this clematis, which again is a very young plant, but I find that's just the cheapest way. I can't afford mature plants that already look good, so I'm buying the very young and hoping that they'll grow into something pretty. But it seems to be doing okay. It came with this trellis, and this is what it will look like eventually, but probably not for a little while. So that's kind of it today. That's all I needed to do in gardening. I did want to plant up those bigger plants, but ran out of compost, so that's kind of it. Now I just have to clean up this table. So thanks so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this. It was nice to have someone to chat to about gardening while I did it, because I don't usually. If you have any advice, please feel free to leave it in the comments down below, and I'll see you soon. Bye!